Did I show you guys what we're doing yesterday? Give you a little preview of it. Remember? So before we can go super crazy in here, we need to be able to identify the parts of that right triangle. If you don't know what the parts are called, this lesson's going to be tough. So let's learn them right now. They are 3 different names. What do you call the longest piece of a right triangle? The hypotenuse. Alright. What do you call the other 2 things? Legs. Right? Because if the triangle looks like that, do you see a short leg and a long leg? So we're going to call the short leg the short leg, and we're going to call the long leg the long leg. Now anytime you guys draw a right triangle, I want you to draw it like that. That kind of makes sense? Have 9? Check 9 on it. So what we're going to do right now is I want you guys to look at that right triangle. You see it? See them? Okay. There is actually 3 right triangles there. What I want us to do is to separate those 3 right triangles and redraw them. So we're going to draw a big one, a medium one, and a small one. Right? When you draw them, I want it to be long leg, short leg, hypotenuse. Just taking L's all day. Alright? So we have 3 different right triangles. The reason that we're doing this is every right triangle in that cluster of the big right triangle, they're all similar right triangles. Alright, so when you draw a line inside of a right triangle, that's called an altitude, it creates 3 similar right triangles. We talked about similarity all week. So here's the hard part. I want you to label the big right triangle with what the labels are over here. So always go to the hypotenuse first. What is the hypotenuse of the big triangle?
On the left.
K. You see how this can be very confusing. The hypotenuse is always opposite of the right angle. We're talking about the big right triangle. Okay? So the hypotenuse of the big right triangle is K. Now, which one's the long piece on the big right triangle, the long leg? G is. And which one's the short leg? F. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just labeling this triangle. Now I know which one's the long leg, which one's the short leg, and which one's the hypotenuse. Now I'm going to go to the medium-sized one. So the medium-sized one is going to be this right triangle right here. Y'all see it? Yeah? So what is the hypotenuse of the medium triangle? G. The long leg, H. And the short leg, J. You see what we're doing there? Is anybody completely and utterly lost right now? Or you feel like it's a little bit confusing, right? It's a little bit confusing. Now we're going to go to the little baby triangle. The little baby triangle is over here. What is the hypotenuse of the baby triangle? F. The long leg of the baby triangle. and the short leg of the baby triangle. There it is, guys. There's the answer key right there at the bottom of your paper. Right? So when we set up proportions, we can use hypotenuse over hypotenuse equals short leg over short leg. It just becomes two random triangles, like we've been doing this whole time. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and fill out, and we're going to try and complete that proportion. So it says I over something. Can we do anything with that? What about F over K? Do you see where an F and a K are on the same side of a triangle down there at the answer key?
Yes.
Which ones?
F hypotenuse.
So the F for the small triangle and the K for the big triangle are in the same location. So they're doing hypotenuse over hypotenuse. So they went small triangle over big triangle. Then they went short leg over short leg. We put an F right here. That's cool, isn't it? That's how you're going to set up your proportions for this. So it involves quite a few steps. You got to redraw them, you got to label them, and you got to start picking parts that match each other. Right? The next one says I over J. So do you see two triangles where I and J are in the same location? Small one and the medium. So it says the short leg over the short leg, that's I over J, equals J over H. You did it. We're going to skip the last one because that was really weird. Do you notice anything weird? Besides all of it? Is there like something? Do you see it? When you see it? Nobody wants to get woke today? Is that how you say it? No? Nobody sees it? I don't want to give it away. It's no fun.
Wait, there's two blank spaces.
We're kind of on the right track. You're right.
F is the shortest side on that triangle?
We're skipping this one.
But
But it does offer a part to the solution of the question that I'm asking.
what did I just say? That's the shortest part or it's two blanks?
No.
What?
It's supposed to be a hard question for a reason. So you said that the blanks were like diagonal from each other?
Yeah, and there's two of them.
What about the F's?
Same with the S, but it also happened with J, so that's not that weird.
And the J's?
Yeah, the J is on the...
And the F's?
Huh?
So you're saying that there's one letter that's always diagonal from itself in every proportion?
There is.
That's exactly what I was after. You see how we get this repetitive so maybe when you set up your proportions that
So
might
are the ones
be
with
just like
blanks
that.
going to be I or something?
We're skipping that one.
Oh.
Skipping that one. Alright, so as you set up your proportions today, you should start to see some common numbers, maybe diagonal from each other. Alright? So guys, look, if you flip that paper over, we have 2 questions to work on today. That's it. I'm keeping it short. I want to keep your attention. I want you guys to ask questions if we're going to have trouble with this. Alright? So, there is a chart here. And there are some chart people. Does anybody want to try charting it and finding an answer? Or do you want to draw triangles and do an answer? Okay, so let's do our triangles. Remember, when you do triangles, you take 3 L's. You make them right triangles. So we go for the big triangle first. The big right triangle. How long is the hypotenuse for the big right triangle? 30. Pause for understanding. Thank you. Well done, math kids. Okay. Now, how long is the short leg?
X.
X. And how long is the long leg?
22.
We don't know. So what do you do in math?
X.
You just leave it blank.
Oh.
It means that there is an undescribed value there. So let's go to the medium triangle. Remember, the medium triangle is going to be the bigger of the two inside triangles. So we have a right angle right here. How long is the hypotenuse?
Unknown.
Unknown, question mark. Well, how long is the long leg?
21.
And how long is the short leg?
Y.
This is weird, right? You have 50-50 shot at short leg, long leg. You should be able to see the difference, right? Focus. All right, so we're going for the baby triangle now. Here's the baby triangle right here. How long is the hypotenuse?
X.
We good with that? How long is the long leg?
Unknown. Or Y.
Y. And how long is the short leg? 9. So I can fill out my chart if I wanted to. The small triangle has a short leg of 9, a long leg of Y, and a hypotenuse of X. My medium-sized triangle has a short leg of Y, a long leg of 21, and a hypotenuse of blank. The large triangle has a short leg of X. It does not have a long leg, but it's got a hypotenuse of 30. Some people like the chart because you can see the relationships. Or do you like the answer key part better? So which one? So now you're going to have to solve for X and Y. Here's what you're going to have to do. Solve for X and Y. So do you want to use the chart to solve for X, or do you want to use these triangles to solve for X?
The triangle.
Triangles, all right?
Three times triangle.
No, maybe not. Not today. Okay, there we are. This is where it gets weird. You have to figure out what proportion do you want to set up to solve. You got to narrow it down. X or Y first?
X.
X. So we're going to try and solve for X. Is there a set of triangles that will help you solve for X? The big and the small one? So if we're going to do big and small, we have hypotenuse over hypotenuse. That's X over 30. And then you need a number. Do you want to involve Y in this process?
No.
No. So we're going to go short leg over short leg. Uh-oh. That's not supposed to happen, is it? Do we have a diagonal pair of letters there?
No.
Yes, we do. It's called X's. Do they match?
Yeah.
Success. It's supposed to happen like that. That's a good way to check.
Are we supposed to cross multiply?
You are supposed to cross multiply. So we're going to cross multiply.
270.
9 times 30 is 270. X times x is
X.
x2 or x squared.
x squared. Nobody? You can get rid of the squared part by doing what? Funny.
Side.
Good job.
Square.
By doing the square root.
Oh,
So I have to do the square root of 270, and I have to do the square root of x squared. The square roots of x squared, these two things cancel each other out, and you get x. And you have to ask your calculator, or ask the teacher, or ask your iPhone, what is the square root of 270?
Hey
Colin?
Siri.
16.4.
16.4. Nice. We got it. We just got x. So x is 16.4. Now we gotta try and solve for y. So we need to somehow get this y involved and that y involved. I wonder what two triangles we might use here. The small one and the medium one. So we're gonna do, or how do you want to set up your proportion?
Y over 9.
So there you go. Y over 9
21 over y.
and 21 over y. So we went medium over small, so we have to go medium over small. Wait a second, we're not supposed to have two y's diagonally matching like that. Class response, yes you are, Baker.
Yes, you are, baby.
Okay, so now we know how to solve this. We cross multiply. Y
297
times
and
y.
squared.
What's that?
297 and y squared.
189.
189.
Oh.
Y times y is
Oh,
y
I thought
squared.
I thought it was 31, not 21.
Okay.
What is the square root of 14?
So to get rid of this y squared, we need to do the square root of both sides. The square root of y squared is y, and we're waiting on Siri to tell us.
13.7.
Siri says that the square root of 189 is 13.7. Noise. How fun is this? This is tough, isn't it?
There's still two things that we don't know though.
Guess what? Nobody cares.
Okay.
Do you have x?
Yes.
Do you have y?
Yeah.
Don't do any extra work.
Alright.
Because you don't know how to solve for that yet. That's topic 10.1. Cool? We're just solving for x and y. Here we go, last question. Oops. There she blows. What should you be doing? Drawing 3 triangles. Is anybody like not feeling the labeling part?
That's easy.
Everyone's like pros at it. Alright, so I'll give you guys a few minutes to label them and we'll check and see what you got. So it's always got to be, go for the hypotenuse first. So is that, how do you feel about doing the hypotenuse? So what is the hypotenuse of the big triangle?
12.
15.
Oh, 3 plus 6, you're right.
15. Now we're looking for the short piece of
Y.
the big triangle and the long leg of the big triangle. Okay, we go to the medium-sized triangle next. Remember, the right angle is right here, and that points to the hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse of the medium triangle,
X.
X.
Left side's 12, bottom side's C.
The long leg is 12, and the short leg
Straight into.
is Z.
It says straight into.
Now we're going to look at the baby triangle. The hypotenuse is
Y.
Y.
Short leg, 3.
Long leg Z. Or straight into.
Okay. So that is the first major task. Now we have to solve for X, Y, and Z.
Start with X.
Okay, let me clear some space for myself here. What do you want to start with?
X.
X. So I have an X right here, and I have an X right here. I wonder which two triangles I should be using. The big one and the medium one. So it doesn't really matter how you set it up. You can go big over medium, or you want to go medium over big. Nobody cares? Big over medium. So that's X over 12 equals 15 over X. Does that make sense? Because if you went X over 12 and Y over Z, you'd never be able to solve it because there's 3 variables. We go back to my homeboy, cross multiply, 15 times 12. 180?
13. Oh, yeah, 180.
Okay, one step at a time, 15 times 12 is 180. X times X is
X squared.
X squared. To get rid of the X squared, you do a
Root square.
square root. The square root of 180,
13.4.
the square root of X squared.
X.
1 down, 2 to go. You want to solve for Y or Z next?
Z.
I heard Y first. So I'm going to circle the 2 triangles that have Y. There is a Y right here on the big triangle. There is a Y over here on the small triangle. I wonder what 2 triangles I should be using. The big triangle and the small triangle. So I'm going to go big Y over 3. Then I have to go 15 over Y. So 15 times 3, 45. Y times Y, Y squared. How do you get rid of Y squared? By taking the square root of both sides. So the square root of 45, 6.7. I have a Y value. Okay, the final task. I need to solve for z. I have a z right here, and I have a z right here. Z over 3. That's doing short leg over short leg. So now I have to do, what is that equal to? Cross multiply, 3 times 12. Z times z. How do you undo z squared? Taking the square root. Square root of 36? 6 equals z. Just me? It's exciting. We didn't make any mistakes today, did we? Now, I would recommend going back and saying, this is 6, this is 13.4, and this is 6.7. Just so you can kind of see if all your numbers make sense. Alright, so I have one more thing that's not in your notes, but it is on your test twice. Okay? Last thing. This thing called a geometric mean. You ever done, you know what an average is? Like how do you find the average between 80 and 100?
Can you like add everything and divide it by the thing you, like the number of things you added by it?
Okay, so an average is, find the average of 80 and 100. We're going to add those two numbers together. Then we're going to divide by the number of quantities we added. So the average of 80 and 90, or 80, 180, the average of 80 and 100 is 90. So if I added 3 things together, I would divide by 3. If I added 4 things together, I would divide by 4. Now a geometric mean is the square root of the product. Square root of the product. So the geometric mean of 3 and 27 is the square root of 3 times 27. So you have to multiply them and take the square root. So if I was going to find the geometric mean of 3 and 27, I'm going to do 3 times 27 and get 81. So I need to do, what is the square root of 81?
24.
9. So the geometric mean of 3 and 27 is 9. That number is not halfway in the middle, is it? So you can't really guess it. You have to do the square root of the product. What's the geometric mean of 2 and 8? So the geometric mean is the square root of the product. 2 times 8 is 16. The square root of 16 is 4. The geometric mean of 2 and 37. Two times 37 is what's the square root of 74? So those are the last 2 questions on your test. This is find the geometric mean, the square root of the product. So you guys picked up your homework as you walked in, right?
Yes.
I want you guys to spend the last few minutes to practice that and see if you run into any mistakes when you do this by yourself. Okay?